everyone, I'm Noreen and welcome to my kitchen. Last night, before I went to bed, I was just flipping through Facebook. I don't go on there very often, but I do like to go there for some reason before I go to bed and just see what people have posted. Well, one of my Facebook friends posted this article, and it's from the San Diego Free Press, which tends to be a little bit of a progressive newspaper. However, it posted an article which I thought was important for everybody to take a look at. And the article is entitled, "Why a Major Food Organization is Teaming Up with Monsanto and Friends to Block Your Right to Know What's in Your Food." That's a pretty long title. But it also goes on to say big food companies like Conagra, Smucker, Hormel, Kellogg's, Coca-Cola, and PepsiCo want to block Proposition 37. Now, for those of you who don't know, Proposition 37 is an initiative on the California ballot that, if passed, would require all manufacturers to post on their labels whether or not the ingredients that the products contain are genetically modified. Now, the article goes on to say that in November, Californians will vote for or against Prop 37, the California Right to Know Genetically Engineered Food Act. The outcome of the vote will likely determine whether the U.S. will one day join nearly 50 other countries that allow their citizens to choose between genetically engineered and non-genetically engineered food through the enactment of laws requiring mandatory labeling of genetically modified organisms. The election is 3 months away, but the battle lines were drawn months ago, lining up against the consumer's right to know and throwing plenty of money into the fight. A long list of industry front groups, food conglomerates, and biotech companies. Near the top of that list is the powerful Washington, D.C. based Grocery Manufacturers Association, otherwise known for short as GMA, a multi-billion-dollar trade association. The GMA represents America's $1.2 trillion, quote-unquote, big food industry, led by supermarket chains, Monsanto, and other biotech companies, animal drug companies, multinational food manufacturers, and the junk food restaurants, all of whom rely on the use of dangerous chemicals, pesticides, animal drugs, and GMOs to produce cheap, contaminated food. So far, the GMA has contributed a handsome $375,000 to the campaign to defeat Prop 37. Making the pot even sweeter are some hefty direct contributions to the anti-labeling campaign from individual Grocery Manufacturer Association members that include Conagra Foods, J.M. Smucker, Hormel Foods, Kellogg's Company, Coca-Cola North America, and PepsiCo. Now, outside of the article, just my own personal opinion, you know, Cat's Cradle and we've been talking about corporate food. We've been talking about crap food. Bev, the Mrs. Volpe, took you to the grocery store and read some labels to you. Here's the problem. Even if they're required to say our stuff contains genetically modified organisms, they will figure out a way to avoid having to do that. And that's the damn truth. So I think this is all nice and pretty for show. I don't think it's going to pass because I think that, you know, even though the people of California will probably want labeling, and this is something that the grocery manufacturers, and there goes Tally again, and, you know, big biotech companies like Monsanto, ADM, which is Archer, Daniels, Midland, all of those big companies who come up with all of the research and everything, and they do all of the gene splicing and what have you to come up with these genetically modified organisms, they have more money than God to throw at this stuff. So, you know, our opinions and our desires as little people, so to speak, I feel in some way, you know, they're going to make it look like they placated us, but I really think that they're going to be underhanded and try and do something else to avoid having to do the labeling. But the article goes on to say that the GMA's list of dues-paying members tops 300. How many more thousands or millions of dollars will members spend in a desperate attempt to keep Californians from knowing what's in their food? And the bigger question, why? Why spend millions of dollars to keep ingredients secret? Ingredients food manufacturers claim are perfectly safe, instead of spending a fraction of that amount to list those ingredients on the labels they already put on food, on every food product. According to its website, the GMA is looking out for consumers. Making smart food choices for yourself and your family is critical to good health. GMA and its members are constantly working to provide consumers with helpful, easy to understand, and essential information about grocery products and nutrition. So what I'm getting from this is basically the Grocery Manufacturers Association is a wolf in sheep's clothing. It's someone who puts himself out there that they're looking out for the consumer, but in reality, they're really protecting the big guy. I think that the Grocery Manufacturers Association should definitely be considered an enemy to our efforts to attempt to eat as much healthy food as possible. And of course, we know one of the best ways to avoid GMOs is to stop eating corporate food. I know that that's hard to do. I know that we don't do it as much as I would like to, but sometimes, you know, you got to pick and choose. Here's a little graphic. I'm going to put a link to this article, and I'm going to let you read it for yourself. But here's a little interesting little tidbit. It says, here's a short history of the Grocery Manufacturers Association's anti-consumer positions. These are things that the organization that claims to be looking out for the consumer has done for us. In 1993-94, the GMA opposed labels on dairy products derived from cows injected with Monsanto's controversial bovine growth hormone, or RBGH. In 1999, the GMA supported, along with Monsanto, the use of GMO seeds, food irradiation, and sewage sludge in organic agriculture, spawning a nationwide organic consumer backlash. In 2001, the GMA, along with the chocolate industry, lobbied against legislation in the U.S. Congress that would have exposed slave-like child labor practices on cacao plantations in Africa. Do you know what that means, folks? That means every time you take a big old handful of chocolate, you're probably helping to enslave children in Africa. Isn't that special? Don't get me wrong, I'm not suggesting you should stop eating chocolate. I'm just saying that this organization lobbied against legislation that would eliminate child labor with respect to cacao plantations. But that all aside, there's very little our Congress could have done about that anyway. 2004 the GMA helped defeat a California bill that would have set nutrition standards for school food. Okay, now a lot of us watched Jamie Oliver. Jamie Oliver had a fantastic effort. He's still maintaining overseas in England about school food nutrition. He came here, and we see Jamie Oliver's Food Revolution. I don't know if it's going to be on this year, but it's been on the last 2 years. Last year in particular, he took on the California schools to the LA school district, and he came up against all sorts of roadblocks. They did not want him there. They don't want anybody knowing what's in the school food. My daughters do not eat school food. My daughters take homemade food for lunch. And the bottom line here is, even on the occasion that they may think they want to buy, they come home and they always complain about how disgusting the food was and how overwhelmingly it usually makes them sick. So I'm going to put this link, and it's the San Diego freepress.org. I'll put the link to the article below. This is just, you know, a personal information kind of heads up from me. So this is something that I'm going to send off to my other friends, and I hope that you'll take a look at it. I hope you'll read it. I hope that it will help inform you, and I hope that it will help you make better choices in the future. So, hope you read it. Hope you like it. Until next time, I'll see ya.